Hey everyone, so I have been making some name mugs for a while now, and I just want to make a tutorial on a DIY name mug. I did it a different way. It's going to be inside out. Instead of the name being filled in, it's going to be left blank, and then everything else will be filled in. So all the things you'll need. You might need an X-Acto knife depending on the letters. So for example, if you have the white part to cut out from the E, then you will probably need an X-Acto knife. You'll also just need a regular mug. I got this from Goodwill for I think $1. It's a really nice mug. Honestly, you can find pretty nice mugs from thrift stores. Depending on what kind of design you want to do, any mug works fine really. Also important, you will need to have one of these Sharpie pens. These are the oil-based pens. I usually get the extra fine point tip because that I feel works best with my designs. And then last but not least, you'll just need scissors and tape. Also, quick note, if you have double-sided tape, you can use that since it's easier than if you use regular tape. So once you have all your materials, then you'll need to print out the name. The font and the size will be up to you. I chose a font from dafonts.com. So I usually just search up on Google free fonts, and I like to use dafont.com. It's really nice because the layout of it, it's really easy to see what the font is like. You gotta choose the style of the font that you want up here. So all of this is free. You can just click on the right hand side if you like to download it, and you can also choose to donate to author if you'd like. So I usually print out a few different sizes in case one of them doesn't work, or unless one of them works better than others. Usually one regular piece of paper can fit 4 or 5 fonts of the same name. Okay, so now what you want to do is you just want to cut it out with the scissors. So with this middle part here, you can just use this X-Acto knife and just cut it out. Usually when you're cutting it out, it's helpful to have some sort of hard textbook that you don't really need. What I'm going to do is just take an old shipping box and just flip it upside down and put the E on it. So sometimes it helps if you just do it on one side and then you flip it over, and you can sort of see like the tracing on this side, and so then you can just cut it out from there. Okay, so now that I've cut everything out, what I'm going to do is just take my mug and arrange it onto my mug. So usually when I try to arrange it, I kind of play around with it and I see what works best. Depending on the font and how long the name is, I arrange it based off of that. So once you figured out how you want to arrange it, then you take pieces of tape and fold it. So they need to be really small pieces of tape. Even this is a little bit too big. And then if it's too big, you can take scissors and cut it, but I think this should be okay because the E is pretty big, so I just fold it over. And then you take your letter, flip it over, and then stick it onto the back side. And you want to stick it so it's everywhere, so that's why if it needs to be smaller, you have to cut it smaller. Put one here and then put another one up here probably. You have to kind of stick it so it doesn't touch. Even this is a little bit too big because it's touching on the side. So I'm going to move this over to here instead. I'll probably need one more for right here. So this process kind of takes a while. This is, I would say, the longest and most meticulous process. But after you're done with this, then you get to move on and it's really fun. Okay, so I just put the first letter onto the mug. Try to put it on gently because you might need to rearrange it after you put all the letters, because I would say the spacing of it is kind of hard at times because you want to make it even, and also you want to make it so that it's straight. So I finished putting all the letters onto my mug, And then for the last name, I'm planning on putting it in smaller letters down here, sort of where my fingers are. So after you're done with this step, it's super easy. You can sort of design it how you want it to. It's just up to you how you want to do it. But I will design mine and then I'll show you what it looks like at the end. Also, tip, if you press too hard on this, like super hard, like a really big blob will come out. So just beware, the pressure that you put can really affect the size and stuff. I really just like to draw doodles on mine, and sometimes I put meaning into it, sometimes I put words, and sometimes I put pictures, and then I also fill it up with just doodles. And then sometimes, see what I see right here when I did it, it's like that nothing comes out, so you kind of just have to shake it again. And I'm just going to test the bottom again. Sometimes you just have to press it a couple times, and then see it's starting to work now. When you're holding the cup, just be careful not to move any of the other letters that are out there. And I would say this is more of like a decorative mug. You can always leave space at the top for their mouth if they want to use this to actually drink, but I usually just fill it all in since I think it looks better that way. Okay, so I just finished decorating this. So as you can tell, I filled it all with just doodles and words and some other random stuff. So what you're going to do now is that once you finish decorating it however you want to, you just take off the words. Also, I chose not to decorate the handles, so I didn't, but you can, up to you. Also, tip, if you take a while to decorate it, I guess it's a little bit easier not to take too long, because once you take a long time, the tape gets stuck to there, and then it has that piece of like tape to it, and it's kind of sticky. So now I just took all of it off, and this is what it looks like. This is her name, and then I have also these little letters I need to take off, which is her last name. That's pretty much it. After this, the last step is to bake it. Sometimes when you bake it, the color changes, but also by baking it, it'll last a lot longer than if you didn't bake it. Just sometimes when I bake it, I find that the blackness of it changes to a different type of blackness. So I think I will bake mine, and then I'll show you how it turns out. Okay, so now I'm gonna take this mug and put it in the oven. First, I will preheat the oven to 350, wait till it's ready, and then put it in for 30 minutes. Okay, so I just took it out, and now I'm gonna let it cool for a little bit, maybe around 20 to 30 minutes. It actually took only 10 to 15 minutes for it to cool down. So that's pretty much it.